Recording
Oh,
in
sure.
progress. All
Yeah,
right.
that's some lawyers made that.
Yeah, they
We're
did. All righty. So we are here today with the one, the only Noble Hardesty. Noble, hello.
Hello, how's it going?
Fantastic. I have been looking forward to this interview for the last couple of days because I feel like this is going to be a really interesting one. I certainly a very popular artist within the repop sphere. We have a lot of your work, and we've carried your work for a long time. How long have we been working together?
I'm gonna say at least 10 years. I mean, like back when the store was even over on State Street. So that's where I started with you guys.
Since the inception. Well, in fact, this is our 10th year. We're on the
Oh,
decade
okay.
mark. So, I mean,
Okay.
since the beginning. So this is kind of one of those special ones where we get to chat with you. And first and foremost, I want to get into a little bit about your artwork. I have had this burning question in my mind for those of you who are local to the Boise area and frequent 10th Street a lot, which is where Repop is. A block down, there is a bar called 10th Street Station. And now, I looked up one time because if I ever do go to a bar, that's the only one I'll ever go to. That's the only one I have interest in. I looked
Yeah.
up at the top of the bar and I saw some coasters and I thought, I recognize that anywhere. I'll recognize that style anywhere. And I
Yeah.
heard that many, many years ago, a fellow named Noble Hardesty would sit at the bar and doodle on coasters. Is that a true story? Is that folklore?
No, that's true. The coaster is probably the thing that has been the biggest kind of tool in my career, the thing that I'm like most known for, and have gone all over the world and everything like that. And it's just these little, I was such an insatiable drawer, and like, and I worked in at a bar called Bar Guernica, and but 10th Street was my watering hole, so I'd get done with a shift and I'd go there, and that's where I'd be there in like Neuralex. I'd be just drawing on coasters, and like all the coasters at Guernica as well. I mean, it's just like, so there was like free drawing paper everywhere. And I was drawing on them with a ballpoint pen, which those are everywhere, so I was like making art for nothing
Yeah.
and making tons of it. And like I've probably drawn on more coasters than anything, like as far as a substrate, that is the one. Like that is there's I've done more problem solving. It's my sketchbook. It's the cheapest original somebody could buy off of me, like all that stuff. So yeah, I used to sit there and draw a ton. And it allows you to kind of like do like a study for a painting.
Hmm.
So a lot of those end up like a lot of the prints that are at Repop
Yeah.
are from coasters, from like I'll take that original painting, scan it, pull it in, and then I'll digitally work on it a bunch. And so that's like that dark side poster there. That is a coaster, start to
Okay.
finish.
Okay. Yeah, so there's actually a lot to unpack there, I think. So, number one, how long ago was that when you first started drawing on these coasters?
Oh, I would say that was probably early 90s.
Okay, so quite a while. This has been like in the
Yeah.
lifeblood of your art. And I
Yeah.
tell I tell people this all the time because we do actually carry some of the coaster artworks that you do in shop sometimes. Uh,
Yeah.
Now your process, it's a very common original for you because if I understand, you try to do a coaster original every day, right? Or at least as
I
close as you can.
I did. I don't do that anymore. I did for 4 years. Um, I did
That's a
a
lot of
coaster
coasters.
every day. And it was such a great exercise for me. And I couldn't recommend more for an artist that's like trying to get to the next level. Like I said, problem solving, learning. And I think when you're working on a space that's small, it really teaches you about composition. It's been such a like crazy learning tool for me, and I've been like conflicted about them as well. Like in the beginning, like this, back in the day, you used to, in order to like kind of like build your resume and stuff as an artist, you would attempt to like you go for juried shows. So it's like a juried show would like a juror would select 30 artists and make a show out of it. So I was always like trying to get into these shows, and I did it a lot. But at the time I was doing like paint, so I'd submit a painting, several paintings, and then like a coaster at the end. And that coaster would always get picked, like always, and it made me crazy. I hated it because it was just like these things are just kind of an afterthought. I just kind of they were like a throwaway item to me. Whereas these beautiful paintings, it was super frustrating, and which is what I was really trying to get out there and kind of get big with.
Mm.
And then the coaster just kind of won out, and I reluctant. I mean, it took years for me to like make that part of my something that I realized. I didn't poo-poo it anymore. It
Mhm.
became like an important focus for me
It w-
because
it
you know,
revealed its gold, its luster.
yeah, and so it's just like I made my peace with it, and thank God I did, because you know I started that process of doing a coaster every day with Inktober in 2019, and even back then I noticed that in that 31 days where you're doing a prompt every day, I noticed an improvement in those 31 drawings from where I started to where I was, and I just decided to keep going. And so that's when I started, and then the pandemic hit. So I
Mm.
had this pile of paintings
It-
and
it-
practice. I mean, and I just sold out. Like that was such a beautiful thing. I mean, it just saved my bacon during, like those beginning, like very scary times that we
of
had.
course, yeah. And
So
if
it's just,
anybody's wondering, a coaster every single day for 4 years is
it is
1,460 coasters.
right.
That's a lot of artworks. I have a lot of people ask in here when they see your coaster originals, is that actually a coaster? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
it
So
is.
I've been really wanting to iron out the details of this story for people who, and for myself, because I mean, it's such a
Sure.
it's such a wild sort of thing. You never ever see it. So
Yeah.
it's
And
definitely very cool.
I hated it, and it was just like, it's been one of the weirdest things that kind of have happened to you.
Yeah.
And I would just recommend any artist that if you're struggling with something that is getting more attention than you'd like it to, just go with it.
Mhm.
Don't fight it. And the other thing that's I don't drink at all anymore. I don't go to bars. I haven't been in a bar. I don't even know the last time I was in a bar. But so it's just like, okay, I even got to the point where like the Alexa Rose Foundation gave me a grant that bought me my own coaster. So I have a Noble Hardesty branded coaster that's what I use as my substrate. So I have like 5,000 of them. So
Really?
yeah. So I just have it's just such a like it's watercolor paper, and that's what I'm painting them with. The coaster, it's like that paper, it's probably the cheapest watercolor paper you could buy because it absorbs, it holds that all in. Like this thing is set up to suck
It's
because
yeah.
I started out with alcohol markers, and I got to the point where I was going to like quality art, and I was buying $150 worth of markers at a time, and that's like five colors because I was buying just like bulk. I was like, this, so it's just like, this is not the cheap art form that it was. And then I just got like I mean, I hadn't done watercolor painting since high school. So it'd been like 30 years. And I got a watercolor set, and that's boom, we're just off to the races. And that's a story.
What a great story. I'm loving every minute of this. It lends, I think, a really intriguing origin story such as that. Your style is incredibly noticeable. You see it, and that's Noble Hardesty. I can see the style from a mile away. It's always feels like it's about to fly off the hinges because it's just like so much energy comprised in this little bubble, and there's just so much like going on, but it's contained in this artwork. Tell me a little bit about anything you can describe in your style. I know it's kind of a question that's difficult to nail down, but
No, I can answer that.
okay.
To me, it became very apparent to me while I was, pretty young and starting out that it's like you can, you need to develop a style that, somebody could tell from 50 feet away who did it, and
Mhm.
that's something that like really became important, like part of my goal. And it was just like, and it was such a great goal to develop very early on. And but it I really kind of spent a lot of time of looking at like Frank Frazetta, his stuff, and his work is all like that. And he was such a genius, and I have no intention of being, in that pantheon or anything, or even trying to like pull off what he does. But I think it's probably been like one of the biggest influences. And then if you kind of move on down the line, I don't know if you're familiar with Richard Corbin. He was an artist in the heavy metal magazines over in Europe. So the Metal Hurlots. He did Den. And this is from the 80s. So there's no reason why many people would even know what that is anymore. But if you took his work and you took Frank Rosetta's work and they made a baby, it would be Simon Bisley. And Simon Bisley is probably, when it comes to like a composition, he's the one that I really kind of go for, just because like he is just, it's so dynamic, it's so just ready to pop. I've spent so much time looking at all those guys' work that's kind of the baby as I was kind of able to pull together with.
So a melding of heavy metal and dynamicism and Dungeons and
Yeah.
Dragons, everything
Oh
that
boy.
is sick in life.
Yeah. Yeah. All that D&D stuff too. I mean, I don't know if you've seen Eye of the Beholder. It's a documentary. I think
I haven't.
you can watch it on Prime, and it's all the artists from back from the original. I mean, it covers art from you know the inception all the way to, and I think I've watched that about 10 times, just because it's so like it's inspirational, and B, it was just like, man, that was my childhood.
Yeah.
And you've got all that too, and you look at all that early D&D stuff. Without it, you wouldn't have like the imagery that you're seeing today. Like that was so key and important to where we are now. And
80s sci-fi and fantasy artwork is like one of the fundamental pillars of pop culture society as we know it today.
yeah,
And it's a huge part of media now. If you
yeah,
imagine like uh, movie making, Doom, video games, everything was influenced by these artists. And now we get the beautiful artwork of Noble Hardesty carrying the torch into the modern age.
one other artist is Robert Williams. That would be the other one that is huge. He's not pop culture at all. He's lowbrow, but it's he that I mean, you could tell that I worship at the altar of Robert Williams.
Taking a look at especially all the things we carry is it's all pop culture related, and it seems to me that majority of your work is pop culture related.
These days, it's probably more of what I'm doing than anything else.
Mm.
But I also have some goals with it. I mean, I'm living there right now. But I'll move on. I'll do something else. I know I will. It was great to kind of have dialogue with all of you guys. It's like, okay, what don't you have? So like when Fallout came out, you guys didn't have Fallout stuff. So it was just like I made a bunch of Fallout stuff real quick. So it's just kind of like that's kind of
Which has been very popular. We can almost not keep it in
right.
stock ever.
Or the Godzilla stuff.
Oh,
It's just like
Godzilla's
all this stuff
huge.
that I'm into, and it's just like and that's the thing. It's like if I'm not into it, that piece is not going to be as good. So if I got to be into it, and I gotta,
Mm.
and that's been like super cool to work
Yeah.
with you guys. It's and the other goal I have is I vend a lot. So, I go out and do shows, do art fairs, do all these things. And I think it's really important to have kind of my breakdown is you do 25% pop culture stuff. And that's what brings people in. And then you've got 75% of the other stuff you do. So I'm really into like, I'm doing all the fantasy illustration these days. I do a lot of like the ukiyo-e, which is like the Japanese wood block. Just these, and I do a lot of that. So I mean, and then I've got like a pinup thing, and I do some nouveau stuff,
Mm.
and so I've got interest. I do a lot of it. You guys just don't see it because I'm making stuff specifically for you. But if you go to Art in the Park, my booth is full of all this other stuff.
I want to highlight an original that we have upstairs for sale from you. Uh, the Godzilla rising from the flame. It's this incredible piece. It's huge. And one of the things that I tell folks when they're asking about it, looking at it, is it seems to me that an original that size is fairly unusual for you. Is that true?
These days, yes.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I don't make big work unless it's for an installation like that, or
sure.
because I don't want to lug it around. I mean, big work's a maker. So I mean, it's like, um, well, I don't know. See that big giant painting there?
Oh yeah, look at that guy.
So, so I make them, and there's a big giant painting right there. So I mean, it's like I do make them, but I don't. I mean, I'm in a 1,700 square foot house, and
Yeah,
it's covered in artwork, but
where are you
and
gonna
it's good to
stuff?
have big pieces, but I don't need that many, and
Yeah,
I don't want to store them, So yeah, I mean, I do like making them, and working big's great, but it's got to be sold.
maybe
I,
maybe in the future we'll see some skate decks like the one I just noticed behind you.
oh yeah, I've probably painted 50 skateboards. I just did a skateboard for the Egyptian theater as well,
Oh, did you?
So yeah, we're putting out. So skateboards they're everywhere. I just did a skateboard show, like curated one at Brassworks Gallery in Portland. So yeah, skateboards a big part of my life. I don't get to ride them anymore, but I'm using them the way I'm appreciating the sport these days in a different way.
Yeah, which is great. Last but not least, I want to throw just the floor out to you to include anything you'd like to talk about.
Sure. Well, I would definitely want to like address, kind of like the new things that I'm coming out pop culture wise. There will be a xenomorph coming out, a xenomorph print coming out for Alien Day, which is the 20
426
4/26.
LV LV426, which is the planet that they go to in the first Alien film.
See, I didn't even realize, I didn't make
Yes.
that association.
Yes.
So, and it's the first xenomorph I've done or put out. So and I'm really happy with the design. So I'm excited to put that out. And then for Star Wars Day, I've finally pulled off a Yoda, and a Yoda I'm very happy with as well. So
Yes.
It's Yoda in a lotus position inside of a lotus flower, um, floating up out of the swamps on Endor. So it's crazy. So there's that. I've done a new beholder design. We'll see if that makes its way through there. I'm not sure yet. Um, and then I loved Nosferatu. So, Robert Eggers is blowing my mind these days. So I did a Nosferatu piece as well.
Hey,
Um,
hey.
and that's in the can, ready to go. And I've got, I mean, the thing that's cool is there's so much content these days, and whatever's speaking to me, I'm kind of writing down, and so there'll probably be more. I want to do a camera. I want to do all the kaiju. So it's just like I am just ready to roll. So it's, I'll probably put out. I've got 6 designs done so far this year. I'm working on Raphael from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Sweet.
My favorite turtle, probably going to be the only one I do. But,
Okay.
uh, unless, I've got somebody like really bugging me about it. And then I've just kind of rewatched all the Mad Max stuff. Furiosa probably needs a piece this year. I love doing Tank Girl. So it's just like there's a lot going to be kind of coming out of my end.
Coming down the
You know,
pipeline.
yeah, and you guys always get it first. So, or when I'm doing pop culture related, always
Yeah.
comes to you first. So,
Keep your eyes
and
out. In store or
yeah,
online at repopgifts.com. I'll have all of that information in the
yeah,
stuff below.
yeah. But Gamera, I'm really excited about. I keep on hearing that Gamera is going to get its own like kind of Godzilla -1 treatment. So,
Oh.
that's the other thing is I'm kind of like paying attention to all this stuff that's coming,
Mm.
and being ready for it. So it's just so I'm really excited to do a bunch of kaiju, and I have ideas for all that stuff. And then there's probably I think I'm at like 6 new sticker designs this year, and
Sweet.
yeah,
Looking
so it's
forward
just
to
like the factory is churning, so it's going.
looking forward to all of this. Extraordinarily so, and I know that the Noble Hardesty fan base that we know and love at Repop Gifts will also be looking forward to it. I've got like 2 minutes to record an outro, so um, all right, that seems about all the time we have to talk to you today, but I know we'll be having you back. Super looking forward to all of the stuff that we've got coming down the pipeline from you this year. We've got fan favorites in stock right now. So you can shop that online at repopgifts.com or in store at Repop, where I happen to be right now.
Right.
Come meet Noble at the featured event for Alien Day, April 26th, 2025. We'll have more information on that later. But where else can we find you?
Oh, I'm the website. I'm at Instagram, Facebook. I'm like on all the socials. Everything's Noble Hardesty. Or if you just go to the link tree and look up Noble Hardesty, it'll give you everything that
Everything.
everything.
NobleHardesty.com. Well, thanks for coming by and talking to me through the internet. Fantastic things that you can do these days.
Great.
Can't wait to chat again, and we'll see
Sounds
y'all next time.
good.